February 26th marks the one-year anniversary of Madeline Soto being reported missing. A week later, she will be found in a wooded area no longer alive. We will dive into all things surrounding her disappearance and murder on today's episode of Like Mother, Like Murder. Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We bring you the good,
the badass,
and the crime.
This is Like Mother, Like Murder.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder, your favorite true crime momcast. I am Rachel.
And I am Heather. And on Like Mother, Like Murder, we bring you all mom-related true crime content, from missing moms to murdered moms, moms who murder, survivors, and more.
Yes. Thank you guys for checking us out and being here. We love to see it. And something I need to shout out is Australia and the UK have been coming in hot. Canada is normally our second to the US. Mm-hmm. And we love our Canadian listeners. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, we've had quite a bit of influx in numbers from Australia and the UK. Y'all deserve your flowers.
If you are one of those new listeners from UK or Australia, please go leave us a comment, slide in the DMs, leave us a rating or review, so that we can shout you out, because we love it. We love it. And we're sorry if we ever did a horrible accent.
I'm not sorry. You are welcome. There is a reason you're here. I'm sure it's that. Okay, so one of the things that we were going to start doing is we're going to have a question of the week. And I think that I mentioned it on one of the last ones, but the question of the week is going to be coming from you guys. So if you guys ever have something that you want to ask us, again, message us, email us, whatever it is, and we'll try to put it into one of the episodes, and Heather and I will answer it. So today, the question is coming actually from our bestie, Megan, and she asks, as a mom, how do you balance the emotional impact of the cases you cover with your responsibilities and family life?
Shit.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question, Megan. That's a good one.
She got deep.
Yeah, you did. So the first thing I think of is that balance when I think of, some of the really, really tough cases that we deal with. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Brandy and Hope, who have just made such an impact on us. I think that for me personally, it definitely makes me just cherish that family time a bit more. Really, really feel grateful and feel even more so. And I think you all know this if you've been here, or even if you're new, I think you can know this after listening to one episode from us. But as moms, that's the whole big reason, one of the huge reasons we started this, right, is we were moms and we wanted to tell stories about moms. And so I think it really just pushes that so much further, that we want to advocate for other women and mothers. And I think that is one thing. And then the balance also, sometimes we just, with how heavy the cases are, sometimes we got to do our good badass crimes. Sometimes we got to cover a case that, doesn't have, that isn't as heavy, just to keep our heads in the right space and keep us passionate about what we do. Great question, Megan.
That is a great question. I know.
What about you?
So one of the things, so you talking about that and going with her question about the balance, I think that the way that we bring our episodes, there is that balance as well. We are not one way with everything. We do try to bring, we say the good, the badass, and the crime, and we do try to balance it out with what we put out to you guys as well, because Heather's right. There is a lot of heavy, and that's important to us, and that's not going to stop. But that is one of the ways to kind of balance it out with what we're recording and putting out to you guys as well. In my own home, there is no balance. So that's all. You're welcome. Yeah, but that is the question of the week. Like I said, if you guys want to submit a question for us, please do that. We are looking forward to getting that list up and going and then just answering one each time we hop on here before we get into the episode, which is going to happen right now. And today, it is a heavy episode. It is one that I have been following very closely, and I'm going to be getting into all of those details right now. Okay, today we are getting into Madeline Soto, and I am going to lead with the fact that there is a lot going on. There is a lot of movement, so there will be a part 2. Not even just an update. There will absolutely be a whole nother episode on the trial and everything that goes along with this case. But this week, I will be sharing about the disappearance and murder of Madeline Soto. Almost a year ago to date, on February 26, 2024, Madeline's mother shows up to her middle school to pick her up. But Madeline is not there. She had actually not been at school at all that day, so when her mother, Jennifer, arrived, she's hit with the reality that Madeline is at this point nowhere to be found. She talks to the police that night to report her daughter missing. There's video footage of this encounter with Jennifer, the mother, and her boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, talking with law enforcement. And this night, around 8 p.m., Madeline is officially reported missing. Madeline's missing person flyer shares pictures of her, and it read, Madeline Soto missing, February 26th, 2024, 13 years old, female, white, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5 feet tall, and 110 pounds. Madeline had just turned 13, 4 days before she was reported missing. She had just celebrated her birthday, not knowing it would be her last. So she's reported missing, and now it's go time for the investigators to start searching, start asking questions, trying to find Madeline Soto. Through conversation, interviews, this is what is said about the day that she was reported missing. Stephen woke up and was supposed to take Madeline to school that morning. He had claimed that he took her to school around 8:40 in the morning, and Stephen says that he dropped her off a little bit away from the school because she was embarrassed by his car and didn't want to be dropped off directly in front of the school. When Jennifer went to pick up Madeline, she was the first in line. She showed up early, and one by one, other children got in their parents' car, but Maddie didn't. So Jennifer, her first thought, maybe she didn't remember that she was going to be the one picking her up, but when Jen reached out to one of Madeline's friends, that's when she found out that she hadn't been at school at all that day. And that is when the police were called. They wait for hours, Heather, for hours for them to arrive. And once they did, they give the information needed, have some conversations, and go from there. The first couple days were spent sharing information, spreading awareness of Madeline's disappearance, and trying to find her. Handing out flyers, knocking on doors, contacting anyone and everyone, and having interviews with people, such as Jennifer and Stephen, since he was the last person to have been with Madeline. This investigation was underway, and so on top of the interviews or interrogations, searches were taking place as well, both on the ground for Madeline as well as the phones of both Jennifer and Stephen. February 28th at 9:52 p.m., Stephen Stearns was arrested on unrelated charges, but he was also announced as the prime suspect in Madeline's case. And just 2 days later, on March 1st, at a press conference, the sheriff announced they are now confident that Madeline is not only missing, but that she is dead. And 3 hours after that press conference, Madeline's lifeless body was found.
Oh, that's moving really fast. Like, when you think about the progression, I mean, not fast enough. And, you know, clearly for her mom, she was probably not fast enough at all. But
yeah, you're right. Too often we see that it doesn't. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, when you think about, like, okay, she's missing, you know, we're trying to find her. 2 days later, he's arrested. 2 days after that, they believe her to be dead. The day after, and that same day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're right. It was happening. It did happen very quickly.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because, I mean, there's reasons for that, though.
Yeah.
This beautiful 13-year-old girl was found murdered and discarded in a wooded area underneath some brush off of a street named Hickory Tree Road in Osceola County. But how did we get here? How did it get to this point? The point of murder. The point of taking this girl who had just days before celebrated her 13th birthday. She was in middle school. She was a kid who was ultimately robbed of her childhood, not only through her murder, but also the years leading up to it, where she had to endure the abuse and the pain of a predator in her home. Ugh. Her abuser in and out of her life as the on and off again boyfriend of her mother. This tragic and devastating murder of Madeline is horrific, to say the least, but she lived through more terror and fear over the years within the walls of her home that were missed, that were neglected, that led to the loss of this beautiful young girl. How in the world can this happen? But it does, and it did. So let's go back a little bit to February 28th, 2024, just 2 days after Madeline was reported missing. The day that Stefan was arrested. Investigators found evidence on his phone, which, actually, let me take you back a little bit further to February 26th, the day that she was reported missing. The day Stefan lied about and said that he took her and dropped her off at school. He actually did a factory reset on his phone. But little did he know, information could still be found, and it was. That's what led to his arrest. Through the work of the Digital Forensics Unit, detectives found images and videos that were criminal and sexual in nature. He was arrested for sexual battery and possession of child sexual abuse materials. The materials that were found, the crimes that were committed, were all at the home of Madeline Soto. Ugh. So yeah, he was arrested on those things, and the arrest was unrelated to the disappearance and the murder. At that time, they didn't know, but it let them know exactly what happened. In an interview that I watched between investigators and Stefan, he stops talking. He knows they have him. He knows they know, so he says it's time that he gets an attorney before anything else. Right now, as I am putting all of this together, Stefan Stearns is in court. His trial is taking place, and I will be talking about anything and everything that comes out and all of the details when we do that episode. But right now, we need to talk about what we found out early and what we know about who this piece of shit is and the other things that will blow your mind and infuriate you. Now, I'm going to be going over a lot of things, and I'm going to be bouncing around a little bit, but it's all relevant. It all ties in. And with that said, Jennifer Soto has not been arrested or charged for anything in relation to Madeline's murder or in connection to any of the abuse that Madeline endured within the home. So all of this is alleged. My thoughts and opinions will be coming out, and per usual, everything is sourced in the show notes. Jennifer Soto and Stefan Stearns had an on and off again relationship for years. At the time of the crime, Stefan wasn't exactly living with them. He had been staying in between places, back with family and at Jennifer's when it was convenient. But for many of those years, Stefan was abusing Madeline. There's evidence backdating to years before her murder. And it's came out and it's public knowledge that the cell phone and Google Drive contained hundreds of sexually explicit images of Soto, including photos and videos that depicted Stefan raping Madeline as young as when she was 8 years old.
God.
Yeah. He's currently asking for that, Heather, to be taken out of court. Like, not used as evidence because he claims that it was unlawfully obtained.
I'm sorry. Just because you do a factory reset on your phone doesn't mean it's unlawfully obtained. Okay? And if it was obtained in the investigation of another crime, it's still obtained lawfully.
You want to know what's unlawful? Your dick being out in front of an 8-year-old.
Seriously. Period.
Plain and simple.
You're unlawful.
Period. Yeah. Here's the thing, too, though. He handed his phone over to them. He gave verbal consent that they could check it. But also, I give no fucking shits about him, and he deserves to rot.
It's not unlawful. It's not. He's an idiot.
They have it in, like, on video where he is saying, like, yeah, you can check it, you can have it, you could keep it. They kept it, and he gave all the permission. So I don't...
Because he thought, well, they can't... I have a factory reset, so there's no way they're finding anything.
He's a fool. In an interview that Jennifer had with investigators the day after Madeline was reported missing, she talks about the night before, which is something that comes up very often. And let me add this here, okay? She explains in that early interview that the night before, she had asked Stefan and Madeline to go upstairs and sleep in the guest room together. Jennifer talks about the fact that she was working a new job and wasn't getting much sleep, and she just needed to rest. And normally, her and Madeline would sleep together every single night. And when Stefan was there, they would all sleep in the same bed as well. She explains that she was very cautious and watched Stefan like a hawk over the years, and that nothing made her feel that something would be wrong with this. But yet in a future statement, she says that Stefan had been grooming and abusing her. Let me repeat, she hasn't been arrested, but I have to read something from an article that explains it better than I can, okay?
Okay.
I know you have so many thoughts. We will get there because there is so much more.
I have thoughts, but I can't even put them into words. They're just like, I guess they're not even full-fledged thoughts. They're just like. So this article puts into words what I couldn't, and that's why I needed to read this. Yes.
To understand that, we need to talk about derivative use immunity, which is what Jennifer was granted during her April interview. In simple terms, derivative use immunity means that the government can't use what she said during that interview to prosecute her, nor can they use any evidence that comes directly from her statements. However, this doesn't mean she's entirely off the hook. If prosecutors can gather independent evidence against her that isn't tied to her immunized testimony, she could still face charges.
I'm sorry, she gave you a fucking statement about it and you can't use it?
Can't use it because at this point, so April, this was a little over a month after Madeline went missing. She was found. Stefan was arrested. So to me, her statement, what they wanted and why they give her that immunity is because they were after him. They needed her to turn on him.
Okay.
They needed her to give anything that they could. So they gave her that deal that says, you talk, none of this can be used.
I understand now. So they gave her the okay. So in one statement, she's like, no. And then they bring her back again after everything. And they say, talk, nothing you say will be used against you in court for charges against you.
Oh, but it gets worse.
This is what's hard is because, like, those statements are important to put this piece of shit Stefan, right, in custody and get what he fucking deserves. But you also need to hold this mom accountable for whatever she deserves, but you can't use her own statement against you. Have to now go and find other evidence, independent evidence.
Right.
But how are they claiming that anything is independent? Like, how do they find anything independent when it all stems from, like, if she said, yeah, this was part of it, like, how do you claim it's independent? I don't know. I guess that's a question for the courts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is like that part I don't know, but so that interview in April is what they can't use. Right. They can use other shit. Yeah. She didn't stop talking. So what it will come down to for her is, can prosecutors prove without a reasonable doubt that Jennifer was complicit in the many years of abuse that Madeline went through?
Right.
Or if she played a part in covering it up.
Yeah.
She may not have had any tie with the murder itself, but does she have even a single ounce of innocence in any of this?
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is a big fat no.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, no. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's based on the things that were said in interviews that can't be used against her. But like I said, she didn't stop talking. She's still talking, all right? So one of the things that she says, Heather, and these, what I'm telling you, are from the interviews that they can't use.
Okay.
But one of the things that she says is that she was afraid of a Woody Allen situation. Do you know what that means?
Yes. Yeah. And if you're afraid of that... okay, let me back up from the mic. If you're fucking afraid of that, then, like, hello?
Yeah.
If that crossed your mind, hello?
That means you had some sort of something in your gut. For those of you guys that don't know, Woody Allen is a filmmaker and an actor who was with Mia Farrow. They had 3 children together, 2 adopted, 1 biological. And Soon Yi, one of the adopted children, ended up getting into a relationship with Woody Allen. Mia Farrow said it started when she was still underage. A whole situation, okay? But how does that tie in here? Because Jennifer states that she was afraid of a Woody Allen situation, you guys. Excuse me, what in the actual F? Like, what? If you have to even consider that a tiny ounce in the back of your head, in any realm of possibility, you should have been done with him 10 times over. What? Are you kidding me? Oh, wait, they were done, right? Because it was on and off again every time you got back together. I'm sorry, but this infuriates me beyond the ability to even, like, talk about it.
Yeah.
It makes me sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I know.
We both got a little heated.
Sorry.
And I'm sure everyone else did as well, because how do you make that statement?
Yeah.
But that's not the only statement. And this one will piss you off even more.
Let me back up from my mic now.
I'm going to talk about one more thing that she said, a statement that was made before moving on. And it's about the continuous support or protection over Stefan that Jennifer had initially. To me, in my opinion, because, okay, you guys, it's about to be 1 year. We have been following this for an entire year. And in the beginning, you see her, in my opinion, like, blinders on. And, you know, to me, I've had every single thought in the book. I've had every single thought. Was she abused as well? Was she a victim in all of this? You know, like, there are those thoughts as well. During questioning, in one of the interviews, she says that the, quote, sex stuff was not evil, but the murder of Madeline was evil.
What? What? And they can't use that against him? Or her?
Her.
They can only use it against him. Okay. Oh, I'm going to be physically sick. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, a mother who... And this statement came out after her daughter disappeared, was found murdered, Your boyfriend is locked up. You've done nothing but freaking support him and be there. And you want to make the comment that the sex stuff was not evil, but the murder was not?
This is like, you are her mother. You have a responsibility to this child. You are just as bad as he is. You are just as bad as he is. I don't know who the fuck it. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. She showed, so throughout so much in the beginning, she showed so much emotion and care over Stefan and the accusations and everything that was happening, more than her daughter.
She's disgusting.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful. So, Stefan Stearns is exactly where he deserves to be. In my opinion, and you can see in Heather's opinion, I don't think someone else is where they need to be. And that's why I say there will be a part 2, and hopefully other things will be coming out soon. We'll see if anything else happens with Madeline's mom, right? When we talk about this in the future. But before we end, I need to read something else for you guys. This is from an article from Fox 35 Orlando, and it's a statement from Tatiana Wallace, who is Madeline's stepmom. I stand before you not only as a grieving stepmom, but as a woman who is burdened by a conversation we shy away from, a conversation about sexual abuse. My heart aches as I share with you the pain of losing a child in such a heinous act. It's a reality that no parent should ever have to face, yet here we are, grappling with the aftermath of a tragedy that has shattered our lives. In the wake of devastation, I encourage you all to have the courage to initiate this uncomfortable yet crucial dialogue with your children. Let us not allow fear or discomfort to silence our voices to the dangers lurking in the shadows. This is a quote from one of the community members that also adds in this same article. Whether you knew her or not, whether you live right here or if you live in Australia, she matters to so many people. It means so much to know that her story has spread so far. And lastly, from Madeline's stepmother, once again, we were robbed of seeing you create such a beautiful future. My heart aches knowing that you will be 13 forever.
Oh, fuck.
Madeline Soto was only 13 years old when her life was taken by her abuser, by someone that was invited into her home and into her life. She deserved to live life on her terms, and she had that taken away from her, even in the years leading up to her murder. Our hearts go out to Maddie and all that loved her and that are grieving this tragic loss. It's going on 1 year. February 26th is 1 year since she was reported missing and her presumed date of death. With 1 year of Madeline being gone, the best thing that we can do for her is to prosecute fully with absolutely no leniency whatsoever for anyone involved. The sources as well as some resources will be in the show notes, such as RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, amongst other things for anyone who may need them. Like I said, there will be another part because there will definitely be more to holding people accountable and convicting and all of that. So the trial is happening. There's so much that has came out already with him trying to have things taken out, not be used, take the death penalty off. Because this is in Florida. This is Kissimmee, Florida. Guess what?
Bye.
You anything with a child, they are going to try to fucking kill you. Just putting it out there. You do not have a choice in this. They want you gone.
If the courts don't, you best believe that there will... this is one of my favorite terms. Jailhouse justice. Let's talk some jailhouse justice, okay? Yeah. That guy will definitely have to be put in solitary because, there is honor amongst thieves and criminals, and your boy better get some of that justice.
Yeah. So we'll be back with that, you guys. We will have that right now. February 26th, when this comes, so this will be out right before that. But it's 1 year that she's been gone. And when you see the pictures that have been shared and just how the thought of her birthday just passed, she had just turned 13. Hearing or reading, like, because I, of course, any of the cases that I start to follow, I always go in any of the groups that are put together, whether they're on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and just reading things that people write about her. And it breaks your heart. It's awful. And it's way too common that these things happen. And were happening for so damn long.
Yep.
So long. This person was invited into their home
Multiple
with a
times,
mom who either fully knew every single detail and just turned her fucking eyes, or had that gut. You guys trust your damn gut and talk to your children, like the stepmother said. Have that conversation.
Yeah, I think that is, it's so hard to, we know how hard it is to discuss these cases, but it's so important, and those words are really just like sticking with me, and is to me like the take home of this, like another child being put through this and then ultimately taken from this world. It is preventable if we continue to say, like Madeline's stepmom did, let this be a reason. Let this be your motivation to talk to your children. And as uncomfortable as it may be for you, for the child, for whatever, if whatever, you need to talk to them, because this is how these things happen. Like, this is how it's you don't want the same thing that happened to Madeline to happen to anybody else, having to live with that for years and years and years, and then ultimately have your life taken. And it's having that open conversation and letting your children know that and that's what's so hard for Madeline. She obviously couldn't fucking trust her mom. So who was she supposed to talk to? And so, like, being a parent means, being responsible for making sure your child has someone to talk to. Whether that's you, whether that's aunt, whether that's, cousin, whether that's stepmom, you need to make sure that there's an adult that your child can trust in their life.
Yeah.
And clearly Madeline's mom was not that person.
Well, and that's like another thing that I want to talk about is you can have a great support system, Heather. You can have a loving home. You can have so many people in your life that offer you that. And you can still you can stay silent.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that happens as well. And so that kills me, knowing that you can be in either home. You could be in the home where you don't have that. You can be in the home that you do have that. And every situation is so, so different.
Of course.
And unique. But you're right. You have to still provide that, give that.
You have
it's
to
necessary,
give the space
it's needed
for it. Because even if your child doesn't talk about it, which you can't, like, obviously you can't fault the child for not wanting to talk about it, clearly. But you need to provide the space. So that that like you've given your child that space to do it. And I think the other thing is, if we make conversations like this with your child, not something to be ashamed of, not something to be uncomfortable about, not something to be like, you don't have to be scared of repercussions, then, it gives your child that much more chance. But, like, you can only imagine, like, the first time Madeline tries to tell her mom, I mean, who knows? And again, all alleged, whatever.
Right.
The first time Madeline tries to tell her mom, look at her mom's actions after the fact. Clearly, like, that was not a supportive environment for her.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I agree.
Ugh.
And like you said, like all of this, I mean, there is a very slim chance that Jennifer had no role in any of this. And like I said, when I was talking about things, there is that very, very slim chance, you guys, I say tiny, tiny slim ounce, that she was a victim in all of this as well. But the comments that were made, I'm sorry, the moment that you have the nerve to say that the sex stuff wasn't evil, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
That statement alone should put her in jail for the rest of her fucking life.
Yep.
If you're complicit in your own daughter and that happening to your own family, you're just absolutely not. Absolutely
crazy. Not. Crazy. That's it though. Stay tuned. That's all we have for you guys with this right now. I am hoping that I am able to provide so much more on who Madeline was.
Yeah.
Her interests, her likes, her life, the things that she did, all of that, because this is still newer. There is not a lot on her at this moment, but Madeline was a person. She was a young girl, and she had friends. She had family. She had so much that she should have been able to look forward to. Yeah. And that opportunity was taken by this freaking piece of shit. So that is it for today. I'm not quite sure how long this trial is going to happen. So I don't know. I have no time frame for when we will be talking about this again. Just know that it will happen. And stay tuned for that. Alrighty. We will talk to you guys next week on another episode of Like Mother, Like Murder.
It will already be March.
I was gonna say. I was just trying to think. Like, it's gonna be March. We have some other. We've got some collabs coming. I feel like we haven't done a collab. We were on Live Laugh Larceny. Absolutely amazing. The best. Loved every single second. But we haven't really brought a collab here to Like Mother, Like Murder since Heather was on with Scott. Yeah. And that was at the beginning of the year. So that will be happening very soon. Yes. I kind of want to like give like a little teaser, but I'm not going to. So just wait for it. All right. We will talk to you guys next week. Take care of yourselves. Be amazing. Trust your gut. Don't be a piece of shit human.
Yep.
And provide a safe environment for your family. Keep open conversation, and it's hard. That can be fucking hard, guys. Like, we're not saying that any of this is easy, but you made a choice to be a parent, have those tough conversations, and
there's resources for you to have those conversations with your kids. If you don't know where to start, there are resources that we will be putting in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Check it out.
Yep. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Okay, love you. Bye.